In 1989, 5 minutes after taking off from Bogotá, Colombia, a bomb tore Avianca Flight 203 apart in midair. It killed all 107 people on board. Escobar ordered the strike because he believed a political rival was sitting in one of those seats. Escobar's operation generated so much physical cash that his organization spent $2,500 every single month just on the rubber bands required to keep the bills bundled. This entire industry was powered by a small green leaf from a mountain shrub, a plant so mild that chewing it delivers less of a jolt than a strong cup of coffee. Tracing the path of this shrub into a global criminal enterprise requires rewinding 8,000 years to a time before human chemistry intervened. For millennia, Andean farmers have tucked a wad of leaves into the cheek along with a pinch of alkaline ash. The ash coaxes the active compounds out of the leaf, releasing them slowly to dull hunger, blunt fatigue, and take the edge off altitude sickness. This practice was embedded in ancient civilizations long before European contact. Moche and Nazca potters sculpted thousands of figures with the unmistakable bulging cheek of a Coca chewer. When the Spanish arrived in 1532, Catholic clergy condemned the leaf as an instrument of idolatry. One churchman even dismissed it as a talisman of the devil. That theological objection vanished when the Spanish discovered the silver deposits at Cerro Rico. They found that forced indigenous laborers worked longer and complained less when supplied with the leaf. Generations of Andean men were marched into that mountain, and coca is what kept them digging. The leaf subsidized the extraction of the silver used to mint the coins that became the first truly global currency. In 1860, a German chemistry student isolated the active compound of the leaf in pure crystalline form. He named it cocaine and noted that the white crystals could numb the tongue. Marketers quickly began steeping the leaves in wine to sell as a tonic for energy and vitality. It earned endorsements from Thomas Edison, Queen Victoria, and even Pope Leo XIII, who awarded the product a Vatican gold medal. Madison followed the marketers. Sigmund Freud published a paper praising the drug for depression and morphine addiction, a theory that failed when his own friend died addicted to both substances at once. But the extract also revolutionized surgery. Dr. Carl Koller discovered that dripping a cocaine solution into an eye made it completely numb, allowing surgeons to operate on conscious patients without pain for the first time. By the late 1800s, the drug was in consumer goods across America. Pharmacies sold cocaine toothache drops for children, and the Sears catalog offered a cocaine kit, syringe included, for $1.50. Isolating the leaf's most potent chemical gave Western society a level of surgical control it was entirely unprepared to regulate. By the early 1900s, reports of ruined patients led to a backlash. Southern newspapers fueled the fear with fabricated, racist stories about the drug's effects, helping to drive the 1914 Harrison Narcotic Act and the eventual ban on imports. The drug remained obscure until the 1970s, when it returned as a high-priced status symbol. At places like Studio 54, its sheer cost made it the champagne of drugs for the wealthy. Colombian smugglers realized they sat directly between the Andean leaf fields and the world's wealthiest consumer market. They built jungle laboratories and industrialized the roots to move hundreds of kilograms at a time. In the 1980s, the drug mutated into crack, a cheap, smokable form sold in $5 doses. When college star Len Bias died of a cocaine-induced heart failure in 1986, it triggered a national panic. Congress responded with the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, which set an infamous threshold. Possessing 5 grams of crack triggered the same 5-year mandatory minimum sentence as 500 grams of powder. This 100-to-1 ratio fell almost entirely along racial lines. The industrialization of the leaf's chemistry created a cycle of addiction and legal disparity that locked millions of people into a system of global violence. The United States has spent an estimated $1 trillion fighting the war on drugs since 1971. Today, global coca cultivation and cartel profits are at an all-time high. The cartel era even left an invasive species in the Colombian wilderness. The 4 hippos Escobar imported have multiplied into a feral herd of over 150 animals that have outlasted his empire. Modern hospitals also maintain a connection to the drug. Surgeons still use pharmaceutical cocaine because it numbs tissue and shrinks blood vessels simultaneously, a combination few modern substitutes can match. Even the world's most famous soft drink still uses the plant. Under federal license, a New Jersey firm imports tons of leaves, extracts the medicinal compounds, and sends the leftover flavoring to the Coca-Cola company. This history is even in your wallet. A 2009 study found cocaine residue on 9 out of every 10 United States banknotes. Society has spent 50 years and $1 trillion trying to eradicate this plant, while keeping it permanently embedded in its medicine, its most famous corporation, and its physical money. In South America, a political movement is working to protect the traditional use of the leaf. Under the slogan "Coca yes, cocaine no," nations like Bolivia have written the plant into their constitutions as cultural heritage. Tomorrow morning, high in the Andes, a farmer will tuck a wad of green leaves into his cheek before heading to his field, doing exactly what his ancestors did 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years, and the leaf has not changed at all. Everything around it did. Coca was never just a drug. It never was. If this history surprised you, subscribe and let me know in the comments which chapter you didn't see coming.